She told us to get hit by a car. We had a fight because my feet were hurting me.
Hi guys, Dalton here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Calla. I'm Dalton's only friend.
Not true. But anyway, in today's video, we're going to be talking about our travels to Asia back in April 2018. We went to Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia.
Let's just run over a couple of places that you should visit and some tips and tricks to make your trip really great.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So first we're going to talk about Hong Kong, and one of our favorite places in Hong Kong was the Quarry Bay Monster Building. And basically it's a bunch of apartments, and there's this courtyard where you can take pictures, and you're just kind of towered over all these apartment buildings. And it's just super cool to go to because it just looks completely different from what I've ever seen in like Canada and America. And just be aware, it might be a little bit busy just because a lot of people go here for photos. And it's about a 30 to 45 minute train ride from the city center. So if you do plan to go, plan your trip accordingly.
So the next place that you should visit is the Victoria Harbour area. There's the Kowloon Clock Tower and also the Hong Kong Cultural Center, which is a really great photo op place. If you're there at the right time, you can also catch the Symphony of Lights, which happen at 8 o'clock every night.
Yes. But it might be foggy sometimes, so you might not be able to see it. But there's this harbor you can walk along, and it's super nice at night. You can see the waters. So our last tip for Hong Kong, or like one of the places we went to, is called Mongkok. It's basically this really busy shopping district where you can buy food, buy knickknacks. There's a lot of things for sale, a lot of shops open, a lot of sellers will be there. And basically in Hong Kong, there's a set price on items, but you can do something called haggling or bargaining to get the price lower. Calla and I, our tip for you is that if you're gonna haggle, make sure you commit to it and make sure you kind of know what price point you want to get down to, because if you don't, some of the sellers might get offended and they might insult you. So our story is that I wanted this one thing, but I actually didn't want it. But I told Calla because she speaks the language and I don't. Cantonese?
Yes.
Cantonese, yeah, and I can't. So I asked Calla to, haggle for me, and basically what happened was the lady was really adamant for us to buy the item, and I just decided I didn't want it, right? And she got really, really like persistent, and she was like, buy it, and then we were like, no. So we started walking away, and then what did she do after?
She told us to get hit by a car.
Yeah, and she like started chasing us, and we were like, okay, well this is how we're gonna die.
Our lives were in danger. But don't be afraid to haggle either, because a lot of the vendors will lower their prices, but just be conscious of how you're doing it.
Yeah, they usually play hard to get, but they will usually lower it so that they can sell the item.
Well, moving on to Singapore, we went to Garden by the Bay. It's just this really nice area with a lot of lights. We went to a light show at night. It's also close to the Marina Bay Sands, which is worth taking a look at. Oh, it's also free!
So the next thing that you must do in Singapore is go to something called a hawker center. And basically a hawker center is just like this place where a lot of vendors set up their food booths and sell a bunch of amazing food. A lot of foods there are Michelin starred. For example, there's this Hainanese chicken that Calla and I are like in love with, and like
so
we
good.
Still think about it to this day. And there's other things like fried carrot cakes. You dip it in like this peanut sauce and it's super good. And there's also desserts. There's something called chendol. Super good and it's super affordable. There's a bunch of hawker centers in Singapore, but our personal favorite was the Old Airport Hawker Center, just because it had that Hainanese chicken and just a bunch of other food choices that we could choose from. And don't be afraid to try something new as well. There's so many choices you can choose from.
If you're going to a hawker center, make sure you don't go too early as well, because we noticed that a lot of the shops took a long time to open up. So Sentosa is the next destination. It's a really great place to just check out the beaches. There's also a lot of museums and theme parks. There's Universal Theme Park. There's a butterfly museum as well. We went to a trick eye museum, which is an optical illusion museum, and we had a lot of fun there.
And yeah, Sentosa is just really nice because it's different from Singapore because it has the beaches, so you kind of get away from the city life. So lastly, we're going to talk about Malaysia. We went to Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital of Malaysia. One of our favorite things about Kuala Lumpur is that you can rent an Airbnb or also get a hotel, which is close to a 5 stars for about $20 Canadian, which is really good too because our dollar sucks compared to like the US and European money. We got this place, it was an Airbnb, and basically it was like a hotel style, but you had your own kitchen, your private bathroom, there was air conditioning, and we also had access to an infinity pool, which was super cool because we could just go there at night after like a long day of walking through Malaysia. And we also had a view of the Petronas Tower, which was super amazing. And we also walked around the Petronas Tower too, which is highly recommended. They have something called KLCC Park where you can walk around, and it's just an amazing experience.
The last thing that we want to talk about Malaysia is that their transit system isn't as developed as Hong Kong or Singapore, so we noticed that we had to walk a lot during our stay there. Just make sure you're staying hydrated, wear your sunscreen, and bring proper footwear.
Yeah, because your foot was blistering.
We had a fight because my feet were hurting.
I was like, why are your feet blistering? Like, can you not?
Last tip, make sure you're traveling with someone that you want to spend time with, you know,
Okay.
or else it won't be a good time.
I was
for you.
I was her favorite travel partner.
I never said that. You're just lying to your viewers.
We went to Hong Kong Disneyland, and I got groped by Woody.
I
Insert
groped
picture.
Groot.
She wanted to see Groot, but like Groot did not want to see her.
No, we took a picture and I rested my hand. Well, I thought it was his chest, but
It was his prod.
I aimed a little lower than I thought I did. So I'm sorry, Groot. This is my public apology to you.
Calla was just a little bit desperate at the time. But it's okay, we all have slip-ups. General tips in general for Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia is that it's super hot no matter what time of the year you go. It's a little bit cooler during the winter months, so like September to like January, but if you're planning to go in the summer months like April, May, June, July, August, then definitely be aware of how hot it can get. I remember in Malaysia it got up to like 40 degrees and we were sweating like a lot, and it's humid as well, so that's one thing. Having high temperatures along with high humidity is like the worst combination. So that's something to watch out for. Even though Calla mentioned that the transit system in Malaysia is not as developed, it's still pretty good, I would say. Like, they all have separate transit systems. So Hong Kong uses something called the octopus card, where you tap and you load up your card with money, and then you tap it and it just deducts like your total value. And I think all of them have a similar system as well. Singapore uses something called EasyLink, and Malaysia uses something called KLIA Express. So yeah, it's you load up the card and then you tap it, so then every time you use a bus or train, you don't have to worry about like fumbling around for like coins and stuff like that. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned a few tips and tricks about Hong Kong, Singapore, and Malaysia. Please comment down below if you've ever been to these places and what your favorite place is, or what place you want to travel to in the future when coronavirus is over, or whenever it will be over. Who knows when. Thank you for Calla for joining me today and talking about our adventures.
Yeah. It was a pleasure being on your channel with your 30 subscribers.
37.
I had a lot of fun.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.